Okay, boys and girls, today we are going to be talking about something called text structure. And text structure has to do with the way that text is organized in, it's the way authors organize information. Now, authors organize information in different ways depending on the purpose and ideas that they are presenting. So we have in our anchor chart today, we have some of the ways that authors organize text. Now, what I want you to do is they can do it in different ways. And some of the ways that authors organize text is, text structure would be comparison and contrast. And so authors might use compare and contrast, and they describe how things are alike and different. And so they use clue words like but, both, however, and. They can also use cause and effect. It helps authors explain what happened and why it happened. And some of the clue words they use would be because, so, order, in order to, as a result. And here's one that's particularly important this week would be sequence. Sequence. And boys and girls, the author's purpose and sequences, text structure helps the authors explain events in order. The sequence would be the order in which things happen. So, they use words like first, next, last, before, then. So that would be sequence. The sequence or the order in which things happen. Now, they also have dates. Dates are also in sequence, so you know the time something happened, the date something happened. And we also have the times, so dates and times. The other thing with text structure would be problem and solution. So the problem and solution text structure helps authors explain how a problem is solved. So there's a problem, solution, difficulty, the answers. Those would be the clue words. So boys and girls, I have given you a paper. Does everybody see that paper?
Yeah.
Yes. And it gives different types of text structure on it. So let's kind of look at that. So let's look, skip the first one, and it says the text structure is how the text is set up. Do you see that? Understanding the text structure can help us comprehend the text, because that's what we want to do. We want to comprehend and understand what we're reading. So, look where it says sequence and chronological. Chronological has to do with the order in which things happen. So sequence, the text structure, the meaning is sequence of events in order, or the steps in a procedure. Those both have to do with sequence of events, the sequence in which something happens. So that is a very common text structure. So today we're going to be looking at text structure in our story, and we want to be able to figure out what kind of text structure is it. Is it going to be a sequence one? Is it going to be cause and effect, which explains why events occurred and the effects of those events? Or is it going to be problem and solution, which describes a problem and how it was resolved? So we're going to be looking in our story to figure that out. So now I want you can kind of keep on your desk this as a reference to help you figure out. Maybe in your head you're already thinking to yourself, you can kind of figure out the text structure of our story already. Maybe one of these is already standing out to you. You're thinking, oh, I think I know what the text structure of our story is already. I might have an idea of what the text structure of our story is. Does anybody think they have an idea? Okay, I see some heads nodding up and down. So you might already have an idea. So here's what I want us to do. I want us to go to page 230 on our story. We're going to go to page 230. And so our story is informational text. Here's our story, and we are going to, remember, informational text gives facts and examples about a topic. Informational texts often include headings and subheadings to signal what comes next. Informational texts include central ideas supported by key details and facts. And informational text may include social studies words specific to the topic, and informational text include visuals and text features. So here's what we're going to do. We want to look on pages 233 and 234. Those are the pages we're going to be very specific on today. So let's find 233 and 234. 233 and 234. Let me see if I can get those pages together. What are the odds? I will not be able to. So what I want us to do, I'm going to go one page. Here's page 233. And we're going to listen to page 233.
What is the U.S. Constitution? The Constitution of the United States is the plan for how the government works. It says how much power the branches or parts of the government can have. It tells them how to make laws and how to make sure all Americans follow them. The Constitution is a symbol of democracy. The Constitution is the highest law in the United States. It is more important than any city or state law. The first rules of the United States. After winning the Revolutionary War in 1783, the United States was a new country. Like any country, it needed rules. Its first set of rules was called the Articles of Confederation. These rules joined together the 13 states. It was a start, but the country needed more. The United States needed a better form of government.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the next page, on page 234.
Who wrote the Constitution? In May 1787, delegates from most of the 13 states met in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Their job was to write the Constitution, a new set of rules for the country's government. The meeting was called the Constitutional Convention. The 55 delegates at the meeting later became known as the framers of the Constitution. Rhode Island was the only state that did not send any delegates to the Constitutional Convention. Convention. A convention is a meeting of people who share the same purpose or ideas. Delegates. People who have been chosen to make decisions for a larger group are called delegates.
Okay, so now, boys and girls, here's what we're going to do. We want to answer some of the questions on our page. So our book is asking us, it is saying to us, how has the author, we're on number 1 here, and it says, how has the author organized the information by cause and effect, problem solution, or sequence? So look at those 2 pages. Now we can refer to our text structure here, and we could see what is sequence. Sequence is events in order. Cause and effect explains why events occurred and the effects of those events, or problem and solution describes a problem and how it was resolved. What are we seeing in those 2 pages? What do we see there? We're gonna kind of look for some clue words. Maybe there's some clues that will help us determine the text structure. What do you think it is? Yanni, what do you think we have there?
Cause and effect.
It's not cause and effect. That's a good guess, though. What do you think it is? Kelsey?
The sequence is chronological order.
It's sequence. Very good. It is sequence. So let's write sequence for number one. We have sequence. Number one is sequence. Sequence. And boys and girls, so why has the author used the text structure of sequence in this selection? Why in this selection is there sequence? Why do you think that? Yanni?
After winning the Revolution, war in 1783, and then on 234, it says in May 1787.
Yeah, so it's giving us the dates, right, Yanni?
Yep.
So it's telling us the time that different things happen. So it's telling us, wants to explain the events in the events of planning the new government, correct? And wants to tell us these things in a particular time order. Very, very good. So the author wants to explain that the events in planning a new government took place in a particular time order. So yes, so they're telling us this all in a particular time order. We are hearing all the dates. This way we know that the government was set up in these certain dates, boys and girls. Now, here's what we're going to have to do. It says, choose another section of the U.S. Constitution. And it's asking you the same questions. How has the author organized the information? So this is what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you choose another section, and you're going to decide, did they choose it by cause and effect, problem, solution, or sequence of events? What do you think? So you get to choose any section of the story, and you're going to decide what text structure did they use? What text structure did they use for that part of the story? So you're gonna look and you're gonna decide, what text structure did they use? What text structure did they use? Now, boys and girls, this is a very handy reference for you to look at because it gives you the ideas. It gives you ideas to help you. So this is something we're definitely going to keep in our school folder to refer to. We want to keep this, yes.